Good morning. How on earth are you? You well? Excellent. You're diddling okay. Brilliant. Me too. Thank you very much for asking. Welcome to another Dazed, Confused, and Generally Buggered. Here, as we are every single day, to answer your questions about social media and about video as well. So that's what we're here for. I want as many of you to ask as many questions as you possibly can do today. We're going to try and just get through as many questions as we can and stay on for as long as we possibly can do. It's normally around about half an hour, but we'll just see where the day takes us. It could be even longer today. We just don't know how many people are going to join us. So as well as answering your questions today, I'm also going to be talking about blogging and what you can do to get more people watching your blog regularly. So not necessarily a vlog, but actually reading the content that you're writing regularly. So we'll come across that fairly soon. First things first, if you don't know who I am, I'm Simon Scholes. I'm the founder and creative director of Perception Studios, this thing right here. They're a visual marketing agency. They're my visual marketing agency. And we help brands and businesses create video content, visual content that really helps them stand out on their social media channels. Be it things like cinemagraphs, 3D GIFs, short form content, documentary style content, whatever it is that between us we work together and decide what is ideal, that is what we help them create. But it came very prevalent to me a few years ago when my dad passed away. Actually, you know what? I want to try and help people more. I want to be that person to help people create content as well, because frankly, I was sick and tired of going to network meetings and things like that and seeing video companies just basically saying video will increase your SEO, it'll increase your dwell time, and you'll make more money. And actually having a video on your website doesn't do any of that unless you get your video to do it for you. And also the big question needs to be asked. If somebody says to you, you must have a video for your website, why do you need a video for your website? If your website's already performing, do you really need a video for your website? Or do you need video content elsewhere to draw people back to the website in the first place? Because the website is already doing its job. There's a lot of questions to be asked. So that's what we do as a business. But also I wanted to try and, when that kind of dawned on me, I didn't want to be that person anymore. I wanted to be the person helping people. I decided actually what I want to do is help people create content. How can they create content themselves for free, so that when they do get to a stage where they're making some money and actually need to have advertising content made, they'll maybe come and talk to me or to other video creators. So that's why I came up with the How to 9 Times Your Social Media process. I've turned it into a book, I've turned it into a group, I've turned it into a channel, turned it into YouTube, and just kind of trying to help people create content themselves for free. But most importantly, especially right now, while we're all in this lockdown situation, creating content not only for free, but creating content easily, so that actually you can take one piece of content and make it work harder for you, rather than making one piece of content, letting it sit in its particular platform and expecting it to bring you an audience and bring you customers and so on and so forth, because that's not how it generally works. So this morning we are live, as always, to answer your questions about that kind of thing. So if you've got any social media questions, any digital questions, any video questions, chuck them at me. I'll do my best to answer all of them as I possibly can. So you know where we are this morning. If you maybe want to switch streams or anything like that, we are live on Twitch, which is brand new. I've always had a Twitch channel, but I've never used it. So making good use of that, especially while I don't have LinkedIn as a capability of going live. Don't know why LinkedIn have just been crap at letting me know yes or no, and I've asked a million times, so it's not for fault of asking. I'm also on Periscope, which then streams live to Twitter as well, so welcome to you guys if you're joining me on Twitter or on Periscope direct. I'm on YouTube at the moment, live on YouTube right now, so hello to you guys if you're watching on YouTube. Thank you very much for joining us. I'm also on 2 places on Facebook. I'm on my How to 9 Times Your Social Media group, which you can go and join if you want to, and while you're there, you will be able to download my free book, How to 9 Times Your Social Media. There's a link in there that will take you to a form. You fill it out, you get my book for free. You don't have to sign up to my newsletter, you just get my book for free. I'm also on the company page as well, making sure I do the company thing. So I'm on the Perception Studios page as well on Facebook. So we're live in a few different places. Let's turn that bit off. Yeah, basically we're here for the next however long it is. You guys are watching. It's your show, not mine. So I want to try and help you out as much as I can do. So whatever questions you have, drop them into the comments. We'll do our best to answer as many of them as we possibly can do. Just gonna have a quick sip. So I promised yesterday I was going to chat a little bit more about blogging while I'm waiting for your questions to come through. So, and I get asked this quite a bit actually, is because it's written and not everybody likes to read, how do I get more people reading my content, my blog content? And it's kind of the same as everything really. So we're going to go through a few bits and pieces. But the first one that I've got written down here is you have to be consistent with quality content. Consistent with quality content. Now, that doesn't mean it has to be perfectly written. If you've ever had the misfortune of ever reading any of my blogs, they're either badly written because they're written by me. If you've read my book, you will know exactly what I'm talking about. I write as I speak. So grammatically, I try to be correct. But actually, when you're reading it, it reads as I speak. I try to write as I speak. That's generally how I write. It's not necessarily the right way to write, but it is how I write my content. So that's not great, obviously, but the content within it is what's important. It's the value that you're giving that's more important. There are far better writers out there in the world than me, but they might not potentially be giving the same amount of value as I give on my content. So I try to give as much value as I possibly can do on every single vlog that I write and every single blog that I put onto my website and lots of other places as well, which we'll come to fairly soon. But it's the value that you're putting in there and also the consistency. Now, I'm not suggesting you write a blog every single day, like I'm doing a daily live video. I wouldn't expect you to do that. If you want to, go ahead, absolutely brilliant. Post it at the same time every single day. Your audience will expect you to be there and they'll actually probably get loads of value from it. So if you've got the value to give and you're a great writer, 100% do it every single day. So worth doing. But if you can't do it every single day, I still want you to be consistent with your content and specifically the blog side of things. So the least I would say is writing something every couple of weeks, preferably once a week. If you can write something once a week, at least, you're onto a winner. And that is a really great way of also helping you move on to other stages of how to 9 times your social media. If you download my book, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. So you've got to be consistent with your blog content. You've got to turn up when they're expecting you to turn up with content that is of value. So it doesn't have to be perfect. Grammar is important, but it doesn't have to be perfect, but it does have to give value. Okay? The next thing is make it really easy for people to actually subscribe to your content. And by this, obviously, when it comes to creating any type of content, whether you're on YouTube, when you're on Facebook or what have you, you want to always treat people as if they're a bit stupid. And I hate to say this because you're all watching me right now, but the fact of the matter is that as humans, we are generally quite lazy. So we need to be guided to what it is that we want people to do for us. So if you're making a blog and people are going to read it, then you need to direct people to the idea of actually subscribing to keep up to date with your blog on a regular basis. So whatever channel it is that you're putting it onto, be it on LinkedIn, don't forget to follow me on LinkedIn. This is my blog, blah, blah, blah. If you're on Facebook and you're posting it as a status update, don't forget to follow the group so that you can, oh, there we go. I don't know why my phone's just on that, but whatever. Really loud, my ears. Don't forget to get in touch and follow my business page or follow my How to 9 Times Your Social Media page. If you're just wherever you're putting your blog, make sure that you actually invite people to subscribe to that channel so they can get that content on a regular basis. You don't want people to not be able to consume your content on a regular basis, and you want to make it easy for them, because if they subscribe, then they're more likely to get an alert that tells them you've got a piece of content that's going live. I better go and read it. You get what I'm trying to say? Hopefully you do. Fairly simple one. By the way, like I say, the comments are open right now. Please feel free, even just to say hello and let us know that you're about and that you're there and that you're breathing. That would be really cool. So on to point number 3. And this is kind of what you've done with your brand and with your business anyway. You find a need and you fill it. You find a niche and you fill it. This helps a lot if you understand who your avatar is, because if you know who your avatar is, then you can really go to town on actually trying to fill that niche, that help that they desperately need. So if you are an accountant, I always go on about accountants, but it's quite an easy one to latch into. So if you're an accountant, for example, and you specifically work with small businesses, then you would give lots of small business value within your blogs. You would drip feed in other bits and pieces like freelancers, because they're obviously still classed as a small business, even though they're maybe not limited. Or maybe you would do stuff for small to medium-sized businesses as well. So you'd write some blogs for slightly larger businesses than you normally work with. But generally, your focus would be on who your audience is and the help that they desperately need, because everybody's trying to get value from your content. You're not trying to sell, you're just trying to give that value. So find an area that you can really help with and give help in that area. You can sway from side to side now and again, but try and put most of your effort into actually putting your content into that specific content area on blogging. Okay, the next one, and this is so important with all social medias, is be social. Be social on social media. I know it's a strange concept, talking to other people, especially in the current climate, but reach out and actually go and comment on other people's blogs. Find blogs that are in the same industry as you and comment on them. Go and find people's groups and pages that are within the same industry as you and comment on their long form content when they write it. And just like give your point of view. You might not agree with what they've got to say. You might agree 100% with what they've got to say, but just reach out there, start commenting, talking to people, and also going into groups where maybe it is a small business group. If you are an accountant, for example, and there's people in there saying, oh, I'm really struggling with this, reach out and help. Don't reach out and say, well, as a business, we can do it for you. Reach out and help. They will reach out to you if they have the money to spend and can't be bothered to do it themselves anyway. The chances are they just want that help and want it from a professional, somebody who knows what they're talking about. So as an accountant, you could reach out and say, no, you can't claim for this on your expenses, but you could claim for this, that, and the other, that kind of thing. So just, always try to be social on social media, but reach out onto other blogs and start commenting on other blogs of people within your industry, and also people who are maybe a plumbing business, or maybe there's an electrician business, or maybe there's a bakery, or maybe there's a radio business, or maybe there's a whatever type of business. Just reach out, chat to them, start commenting on other people's blogs. That way they will learn to know that your content also exists. And I know this takes time, but this is something we have a lot of at the moment. So make the most of it. So the next one, which I think is quite an interesting one, and it kind of ties into something else I was chatting about yesterday about TikTok collaboration. Now you can collab really easy in a blog because you don't have to be in the same room as the other person. So you could collab with other accountancy firms, or you could collab with other businesses who have their own blog, and you might just reach out and just say, look, I was reading your blog about X, Y, and Z. I have a viewpoint of A, B, and C. Would you mind if I wrote a guest blog that was connected to that? And then they could put it on their website and say, thanks ever so much to Bob from Bob's Accountants, who has written this blog about ABC, which connects to our one about X, Y, and Z. Have a read of it, see what you think. That kind of stuff really works well. And also, there's got to be a symbiotic relationship. So you've got to be happy for them to say, do you mind if I give you some content as well for your blog and your website? Okay, so let's go to the next tip. And this one kind of surprises me. A lot of people don't do this actually, is use hashtags, or more to the point, use metadata. So when you're writing your blog, you have an opportunity, and it depends on what platform you're using. I use WordPress for my website, which is where I put my blog initially. And so I can write metadata into there, so that I basically tie it back into the title of the blog, make sure the title of the blog is within the blog itself, make sure that the metadata that I'm using is taken from the blog, so that it makes it really searchable and easy for people to kind of find that content, but also for Google and people like that to go, yeah, that metadata definitely works with that blog and that title, so let's push it out further for more people to see it. SEO is a big subject, so we're not going to go too deep into it, but just make sure you're using tags on your content. And that also brings me into photographic content, visual content, because coming from a visual agency, obviously this is really important. Using visuals in your blogs is really, really important. Getting it right as well is also quite important, because you can put a photograph in, brilliant, but you've got to get the background information right as well. So make sure that you're using alternative tags, that kind of stuff, to help people, again, when they're searching, find potentially that photograph, which will lead them then to the blog to get more content and more value from the blog. Just quickly going to have a look, see if there's anybody on the comments at the moment. No, we're very quiet today, very quiet indeed. Still people watching, but the comments are quiet. So if you've got any questions at all, even if it's about what I'm talking about, feel free to just drop your comment into the stream right now. It will pop up on my screen and we can answer that question as quickly as possible. Okay, right, on to my next point. So this is something I do quite a lot with my content, is I turn my blogs into other content. This is what repurposing is all about. This is what the How to 9 Times Your Social Media process is all about. Now, you'll have heard me mention earlier on that people will say to you, videos are a really important tool and it will help increase your SEO and your dwell times and that kind of stuff. Now, what I do with the How to 9 Times Your Social Media process is encourage people to create video content that is on their blog subject. So if you've written a blog all about how paint dries, then you would do a live video all about how paint dries, or a video all about how paint dries. Then you could make other content from that all about how paint dries. So the whole point of that, and me telling you this, is because then you can take that video, obviously upload it to YouTube or what have you, and then embed it back into content. Okay, so you can embed that video back into the blog it's come from. So you're giving people double the options there to actually consume the content, because they might start reading and going, oh, this is quite a long blog and I want to get, oh, there's a video, I can watch that instead. And so they'll watch the video, which is about the blog, gets the main points across, brilliant, Bob's your uncle. They still get value from the content. It also might help them to read the blog, then watch the video afterwards. Your dwell times will then start to lift up, because people will stay on your website for longer because they're going to be watching the video as well as reading the blog. So don't be afraid to create video content that's about the blog and embed it back into the website itself and the blog itself. And not only that, because of doing that, you'll have metadated your video properly, which we'll talk about maybe in a future live stream. And because you've done that, then you're doubling up on your SEO. But we'll worry about that another time. But don't be afraid to do a video about the content that you're talking about in your blog and then post it back into your blog as an embedded piece of content. Let's have another look at what else I've written down. So I kind of covered that one off. And this one I think is quite important. And I think this is important across all social media channels, but we're talking about blogging today. Create a community. So when you're writing about stuff, make sure you're writing to your community. You're trying to get people to subscribe. They're subscribing because they're getting value, but you want them to subscribe to you as well. A bit like watching a video or listening to a radio show, you want them to feel like you're their mate. You're giving them some value, giving something they wouldn't normally have had if they hadn't started reading the blog. So build that community of people, get them involved in your content as well. And if you're doing live videos like this, for example, get them invited in on the streams and talk to them, or do Q&A sessions or whatever, but just build that level of a community. I've got a friend, Steve Booker, absolutely brilliant blogger, and was classed as one of the top 5 bloggers. I think he was in the world of men's fashion, or at least in the UK, but I think he was potentially globally. And he's a brilliant writer, all about fashion and stuff. And yeah, he really has built a community of people through the content that he writes. And he doesn't create content consistently, like all the time, but the content he creates is on point. He does Q&A sessions on LinkedIn, on Instagram, sorry, all that kind of stuff. So it's really, really cool. So yeah, build that level of community and get them involved in your content, whatever way that you see to get them involved, but try to get them involved in your content. Try to create that community feel, because we buy from humans, we buy from people that we like. So if you're creating content and people are just going, oh, well, didn't really like my fire, then are they likely to become part of your tribe? Are they likely to become a customer in the future? Possibly not. Maybe, but probably not. Anyway, that's my tips on blogging. There are more things we can go into. For example, where you should be posting your blog. Should we cover that off very quickly? I spoke about this the other day, but basically you're trying to remove friction. So with social media, there's always an element of friction. Right now, we've got a smaller audience than usual watching the video because not everybody has time to sit down and watch a video. But if you do have time to sit down and watch a video, brilliant. But if you don't, how are you going to consume that content? And that's the same with a blog. If you put it on your website and don't tell anybody about it, why would you expect anybody to come to your website to try and have a read of your content? You wouldn't. So you need to start posting that content in other places to remove that level of friction of it only sitting on your website. Even if you post the link on other websites, the chances are, number one, the website will punish you for posting a link to an external website because they don't want people leaving their website in the first place. And number two, most people probably won't click it because they're on Facebook or LinkedIn or Twitter or whatever for a reason. You've got more chance of people clicking a link on Twitter because it's such a limited character restriction. So you do have a better chance of that as long as you give them a good enough reason to click through and also capture their attention, because obviously content on Twitter disappears very, very quickly. So you need to give them a reason to stop in their feed, to stop going, scroll, scroll, scroll. Oh, hello. So you've got to give them a reason to stop in their scroll and take a look at your content, go, oh, right, okay, they've written a blog about this, click. You've got to give them a reason. But everyone else, you could put your long form content there in the first place rather than drawing them away from that website. So you could put your long form content on your business page as a post on Facebook. You could put your long form content on LinkedIn as an article or as a status update. You can even put it onto Instagram as well. So don't worry about posting the same content everywhere. It's not ideal. Do not get me wrong. I'm not saying this is a good thing, but I'm saying right now we want to get you creating content in the first place. And I'm a huge believer, if you're not communicating, nobody can hear what you've got to say. So why not just remove that level of friction, post the content in lots of different places natively rather than a link to it. Draw people back to your website by all means. Put a little bit on the end of the blog which says, and to read the blog on my website, click here, and then put the link in your comments or something like that. Don't put links directly into the main body of content, for the main reason that what happens is then the website that you're putting out on sees that link, sees it as an external piece of content, because what it will do will draw a thumbnail of some sort, whether there is one or not, from that content, and then actually go, right, okay, this is an external link. We don't want anybody leaving our website. Screw you, and drop you down the feed. Simple as. So don't put your links to external websites in the main body. Put them into the first comment. There are other things that you can do to kind of stop that being an issue, but let's not go into that right now. Just concentrate upon your links in your first comment and drawing people back to that link. You can post it on LinkedIn, like I say, as an article. There are external websites like Medium, which is a really great place to be posting content as well. Obviously, the old-fashioned, I say old-fashioned, it's not really that old, but anyway, Tumblr, you could be posting content there as well. And just don't forget to tell people about it. If you've got an email list, make sure they know that you've got a blog. Make sure that they have a link within that email, or however often you're sending it, to go and click and read your latest blog and get value from that piece of content. Just make sure you're telling people all the time about the content that you're creating, but specifically about the blog. Okay, I think that's pretty much blogs covered off. Going to have a quick look, see if we have any comments from anybody. Is there anybody alive out there? I know we have people watching. Is anybody going to ask any questions today? It's the $1 million question. Should we have a look, see if there's anybody on Twitter right now? See if anybody's out there. Oh, we've had a few people retweeting the stream. Thank you very much to the guys at Ross Brook and also Chris Davies. Accountants. Funny, I should be talking about accountants earlier. So thank you very much for retweeting that out. Let's have a look, see if we've got any questions on Facebook that came through before the live stream started. Just let me approve this person joining. How to 9 times your social media. Right, let's have a look. So we did have a question here. Okay, so Yana Green, who is a coach, a business coach, and he's asking, do you have any documents or video about making YouTube videos and engaging audiences? So I do, of sorts. I have my book, How to 9 Times Your Social Media, which is a former #1 book. You can get it right now for free. There is a link really easy to get to. I'm posting the link across all my social media channels all the time. But the easiest link to get to right now is to go and join the How to 9 Times Your Social Media group on Facebook, and then you can download the book for free, because it's the top link. You just click the link and then just go type in your bits and pieces, say yes or no to my newsletter. You don't have to have it. If you don't want it, who cares? You still get the book for free. Awesome. So then you can download the book. So hopefully, Yana, that will help you out. We'll do some content about actually making engaging content on video, and specifically on YouTube. Maybe we'll do that tomorrow. Maybe we'll chat about YouTube tomorrow and answer some questions about that. As it is, though, there are no questions coming through from people, so I think I might call it a day. 25 minutes of me blabbing on about blogging. I think that's probably enough for most people. If you do watch this on replay, don't forget, drop your questions into the comments. If I can't answer them in the comments, we'll answer them in a live video, and we'll go across them then. And also, don't forget as well, if you ever want to be on the live stream, you're more than welcome to join me. Unfortunately, it looks like Elliot wasn't able to join us today for the live stream, but we were going to get him to come and join me live. He's a journalist, so it would have been interesting to chat to him. But you can come and join me, talk about your brand, talk about your business, get a bit of free publicity. I think yesterday we had in total around about 450 streams across the day, across the different platforms. So that's pretty cool. So 450 new sets of eyeballs for you to chat to. So if you ever want to come on the stream at all and have a chat with me, you're more than welcome. I just need to invite you. So let me know in the comments right now whether you're watching this live or whether you're watching this on the replay, and we'll do our best to get you invited across, and we'll have a bit of a conflab. We'll chat about your business, what it is that you do, answer any questions, that kind of stuff. And if you have any questions at all, and I know not everybody is wanting to go live on video, not everybody wants to ask a question in public because they feel like they might look a bit stupid. My email is always open, so feel free to drop me an email, and we can either chat on email, or we can arrange a Skype call so we can have a chat, or we can answer your question on one of the live videos and just not mention that it's come from you. As simple as that. My email is scrolling across the bottom right now. There it is. There it is. simons@perceptionstudios.co.uk. So feel free to just leave me a message, and we will do our best to answer your questions in the best way possible. Anyway, thanks ever so much for watching today. It's been another cool stream, even though you guys have been a little bit quiet. Hopefully you got some value from it. Hopefully you've got something from there that will mean you'll go away right now and start thinking seriously about starting up your blog if you haven't already, or making sure that your blog gets out to more people, and that you can actually use your blog to help you in the future as well. Anyway, until tomorrow, thanks ever so much for watching. As always, don't forget, wherever it is you're watching or listening, hit the subscribe button, and it will be really cool to have you join me tomorrow, 11 o'clock, for another Dazed, Confused, and Generally Buggered. Have a good rest of your day. Stay safe, and don't forget, at 8 o'clock tonight in the UK, clapping for the NHS. Get yourselves outside, rattle those pots and pans, and give them a loud round of applause. Okay, I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. Doesn't want to end my broadcast.